What's up, boys? Today I want to talk about my predictions for the Western Conference playoffs, who I think is going to make it, and then I'll quickly run through each of the teams that have a chance at making the playoffs. Because let's be real, the East is boring. We all know who's coming out of the East. We all know who's going to the playoffs in the East. The West is way more fun to talk about. Now, my predictions for who I think is going to make the West playoffs, I think it's going to be Denver, obviously, Memphis, Sacramento, Phoenix, Golden State, the Clippers. I think it's going to be Minnesota, Dallas, OKC, and New Orleans. Those are the teams I think are making the playoffs in the play-in. I could see the Lakers making the play-in, but the obvious issues come in with the Lakers in that LeBron's not playing. So it's going to be way harder for them to actually maintain a winning record and make the play-in for the West. And they also still have a pretty tough schedule remaining. They have to play the Pelicans tonight, then they play the Mavericks on Friday, then they have to play the Suns twice for the last set of their season, the Jazz twice. They still have to play the Clippers and the Timberwolves and OKC, all in which are going to be toss-up games without LeBron. Maybe not the Suns games. They could probably take both those games considering that KD's not playing, but Booker has been playing really well for the last couple of days, averaging over 30 a game for the past 4 or 5 games. Starting with the Nuggets, obviously, I'm going to have the Nuggets making the playoffs. I think everyone has the Nuggets making the playoffs because it's just obvious at this rate. There's no way they miss the playoffs. The Nuggets have been struggling for the past couple of games because Jokic's defense has been horrendous. I think they need to stop playing him in drop coverage and just let him play up on screens. Nuggets defense has been terrible. They've been giving up leads. Obviously, that bad game against the Spurs the other night. The Nuggets are still one of my favorites, if not the favorite, for coming out the West. They can't keep playing this bad defense like this in the postseason. They're going to get clowned on. Then you got the Grizzlies. Even with Ja going to the counseling program and there's no status on when he's going to return this season, the Grizzlies are still a well-built team even without Ja. Obviously, the team's built for Ja and around Ja, but Desmond Bane is still a lights out shooter. You could run Desmond Bane or Dylan Brooks at the 1 with Ja's absence and it would still fill in the slot fine. And with the 3 core players of Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, and Jaren Jackson, they're still a threat to be messed with. Now, I don't know if they're top 5 in the West without Ja, obviously. A fringe 6 or 7 seed. Obviously, they'll stay a high seed because of, their record as it stands. Without Ja, they're still a competent team. I mean, they're deep with Tyus Jones coming off the bench. Maybe he starts. And they have one of the best defenses in the league. Jaren Jackson, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Steven Adams, obviously, he's out on injury right now, but we all know that he plays really good defense, standing like a statue in the paint with Jaren Jackson. It doesn't have the playmaking and the all-star caliber play for Ja Morant, but you still have good shooters. You still have good playmaking through Dylan Brooks and Tyus Jones and Desmond Bane and even Brandon Clark as a power forward. I mean, he plays some really valuable minutes for Memphis, especially since the West is so jam-packed and anyone can fight for it that realistically they can compete with a lot of the teams in the West. I mean, they're built so big and so well-rounded that they are well matched against basically almost any team in the NBA, let alone the Western Conference. At the Sacramento Kings here at the 3 seed, I talked about them yesterday, but I'll quickly go over the Kings again. De'Aaron Fox is a beast. Domantas Sabonis is a beast. Best offense in the league. We all know how good the Kings are. The one downside for the Kings, for them being a non-contender, in my opinion, is that defense. But I do believe that even with the lackluster defense, Mike Brown will find some way. And you got the Suns. The Suns are a weird one, man. Obviously, the Suns are automatic contenders with Kevin Durant. They have no depth. They have basically 5 players on their roster, right? It's Kevin Durant, it's Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Josh Okogie. And then after that, they don't have much of a team. I mean, Cameron Payne, he's been shooting lights out for basically this entire season. But how much of a contender can they actually be without depth in the postseason? And in the Western Conference, where a lot of these teams are super deep. You got the Clippers, you got the Grizzlies, you got the Kings, you got the Nuggets, kind of, but not really. Kevin Durant, he's proven it time and time again, too. It doesn't matter how much time he misses. I feel like that's a debate that a lot of people are having right now is, oh, Kevin Durant, he's going to get hurt, he's going to come back, he's going to play bad. No, he's not. He's proven it time and time again, every single time that he misses time, he comes back and he still plays at an elite level. at a top 10 NBA player level. He didn't play for the Suns for about a week and a half to 2 weeks comes back and drops a 30 piece. You know what I'm saying? Or when he was out for that entire year with the Warriors, comes back, best player on the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? It's like Kevin Durant, he can miss as much time as he wants because he knows how to ball. I just don't know if they can go on a deep run to the conference finals or even make it to the finals without an actual rotation. They don't have a rotation. The Warriors, man, the Warriors are such a weird team. I don't know how to feel about this team. Because on one end, you got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who has been lighting it up in the second half of the season, finally playing to the caliber he should be playing. But then on the other hand, you have what looks to be a horrible defensive team, especially on the road. They have no idea how to play on the road this season. You have a team that's still sort of young off the bench, and a lot of the guys are very inconsistent. And if Curry's not giving you 30, if Klay's not giving you 30, you can't win. You also have Wiggs. Who knows what's going on with Wiggs? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to feel about this Warriors team. Obviously, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? They have Curry, they have Klay. They still have a really good roster, one of the better offenses in the league, and they're the reigning champions. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt when they make the playoffs because they have the experience. Can they make it out the West? I don't know. Against teams like Denver. The Clippers. I think the Clippers are going to be one of the underdogs, in my opinion, for the Western Conference to make it out. They're playing at an elite level, above the top 15 in both offense and defense. They finally have guard play with Westbrook. And, obviously it started off real slow, but it's starting to steadily, with the team chemistry, it's starting to steadily progress upwards. I don't know, man. The Clippers are deep. I think this team has a real shot at making it out the West. They size up well against a lot of these teams in the West, and I would be scared to play the Clippers in the first round for sure. You got the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are a weird one because on one hand, you have Anthony Edwards, but on the other hand, this team doesn't work without Cat. Obviously, Cat hasn't played with the Timberwolves in months. Without Cat, they don't have a real offense. Defensively, they're great, right? Rudy Gobert, he does what he has to do. Obviously, he's been struggling since he came to Minnesota defensively, and it's not like what he used to be in Utah, but he's still getting the job done. Every time you play the Timberwolves, their opponent averages like 100 points a game. They have shooters on offense, and obviously Anthony Edwards, but it's not enough because the whole point is Cat needs to be there. Dallas. Oh, Dallas is a weird one. We all know the situation with Dallas, right? It's two big things. It's obviously no defense. They cannot play defense at all. They let their opponents drop 130 on them a night. And then it's Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving and how they play together. And look, there are nights when they both drop 36 to 35 apiece, and it's like, damn, how are they even doing this? You know what I mean? It doesn't result in wins. One of them needs to let the other guy become the big clutch time player, if that makes any sense. I know I worded that weird, but what I mean by that is, like, let's say Kyrie Irving is having a great game, Luka Doncic is having a good game, and it's the fourth quarter, because keep in mind, Dallas is one of the weaker clutch time teams right now since the Kyrie Irving trade. They don't know who to give the ball to. Kyrie doesn't know whether to keep it or let Luka do his thing, and vice versa. Luka doesn't know whether to give it to Kyrie or let him keep it and do his own thing. And it becomes this jumbled up, horrible offense where they don't run sets. They just run patty cake, pass the ball around up until the point where Reggie Bullock gets the ball and he just has to put up a shot because the shot clock's going down. You know what I mean? Or Kyrie Irving puts up a forced shot that is never going to go in. They don't know who to give control to. It's like, back in the day with Kyrie and LeBron, it was easy. Kyrie would have a good game, but when it comes down to it, you need that winning shot. You just hand it off to LeBron, let LeBron do his thing, let him get someone open, and then they can knock down a corner three or whatever the case may be. But I guess in this scenario, Kyrie feels like he's that number one guy, except he's not. But then Luka also feels like that number one guy, and some nights he's not. So I don't know. Dallas fans, you let me know what you think about the offense. Got the Lakers next at the 9th seed. Like I said, I'm going through all the teams that I think have a chance of making the playoffs in the play-in. The Lakers with LeBron have been really, really good since the deadline. The team is actually competent now. They have shooters. They're one of the best defenses in the NBA right now. I believe they're actually the best defense in the NBA right now. So I think this team definitely has a real shot when LeBron comes back, but they need to make it before LeBron can come back. And that's the problem, right? But other than that, if they do make it, I don't see why they can't match up against some of the better teams in the West. I mean, I think they probably have a better roster than Golden State right now. I think they definitely have a better roster than Phoenix, and it's LeBron versus KD. We all know how that's going to go. New Orleans, man, y'all know this is my team. I love New Orleans, but there is just so much wrong with this team this year. It's all because of injury, right? The Pelicans have just been unfortunately unlucky with injury. Injuries just killed us. I mean, the starting five has never played a single minute the entire NBA season this season. Zion and Brandon Ingram have played a combined, like, I think 150 minutes or something like that. Like, they just haven't played together. Even through all the injuries, you can count on how good their defense was up until the trade deadline. Their defense is one of the worst in the league right now. I believe they're 24th in defensive efficiency. And turnovers are also a huge problem. Obviously, the team's super young, still trying to build up that chemistry, still trying to get that really valuable experience in close games. Yeah, if the Pelicans don't make the playoffs, it is definitely a disappointing season. And you got OKC. This team is awesome. If they make the playoffs, they are the opposite of what the Pelicans are in that they exceeded expectations, right? J-Dub is coming up to be probably the best rookie in the class besides Paolo Banchero. Their three-point shooters are definitely something they need to work on because they are lacking in that department, but it doesn't matter because, I mean, this team wasn't supposed to be this good, and they are. They also have a pretty solid schedule where they could kind of breeze by a lot of these teams. And finally, Utah. I think Utah is the last team that has a chance of making the play-in and potentially making the playoffs. Portland, it's Dame or bust, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to talk about them for too long. Actually, I'm not going to talk about them at all. Again, another one of those teams like OKC that is over-exceeding expectations. Lauri Markkanen, no one expected him to play this good, I don't think. We knew he had a lot of upside coming out of Chicago, going to Utah, and that Chicago really messed up trading him away. Did we expect him to be an all-star? No, absolutely not. I love the way they're using Lauri Markkanen too. Unlike any other power forward in the league, if you can even classify Lauri as a power forward, he'll play point, he'll play shooting guard, he'll play center, he'll play whatever position you put him in because he's just a hooper. They do have a difficult schedule. They have to play the Lakers twice. They play the Celtics on Saturday. But, I mean, it's one of those teams where a big team like Boston or Milwaukee, they're going to sleep on Utah and they're going to put you under because they have shooters and Lauri Markkanen will go to work and they play hard knocks, almost like Dan Campbell type basketball because they're just going to put it all on the court. They're going to play good defense and they're going to keep it honest. So those are my thoughts on every team in the West as well as my predictions in the West. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.